Oh, this one's an interesting one. If you played System Shock, you've either enjoyed it a lot or dropped it because the controls are fiddly. Or if you're me, you just get lost. Now, the controls were a byproduct of another thing in System Shock. They tried to make everything as advanced as possible, which is pretty impressive looking back, given this was 1994. It's also a 94 game with 3D models, so let's go laugh at them. What is that? Right, that's fun. Back to the topic. So, what were the things that set this game apart from the other? And I use that term lightly. Well, the one that probably jumps to your attention first is the fact that you can actually disconnect the crosshair from the screen and control it with your mouse. It's pretty impressive in practice and kinda cool to control stuff with. Now that alone is quite a selling point, and I haven't seen any other game do this to this day. Well, probably because it's really janky, but you can also lean around corners, which nowadays is standard practice in tactical FPS games. But like a lot of the things in this game, System Shock goes the extra mile. You have an interface at the top of the screen that lets you change your standing level, your lean level, in any direction. It's pretty cool. But if that's too fiddly for you, there's also keybinds for that. Same with picking stuff up, actually. Now, System Shock games have always had a side helping of Spook, so let's talk about that as well.
Let's get the spooky ghost story voiceover as well. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Now, the first thing you notice when you start the game is
The music is so loud.
yeah, turn the music off. It don't help the atmosphere at all.
So the thing you'll notice after that is the ambience. There is none. Now you think this would go against the atmosphere, but once you actually make a noise, be it heads up display, a platform lowering, accidentally firing a gun, it's gonna be loud.
And that gives you the sensation,
oh no, I hope the bad lot didn't hear that.
yeah, the bad lot. For the most part, they're silent until you alert them. And when you do alert them, well, it's a panic. It's a massive panic. And if you combine that with the controls, it's kind of very stressful. And if you also throw in the fact that you can't take many hits before it's game over, it makes quite an intense scramble. And once you experience that, it makes you dread an encounter, which makes the enemy alert sound so much more creepy. Now that's the main thing I actually wanted to talk about, but how could it be better? The music. The music can make all the difference.
Now this is definitely out of the scope of 1994, but the idea I have is dynamic music, where the ambient music is very quiet and sinister, and the combat music is very loud and fast-paced. Here's an example I whipped up.
Oh yeah, the rest of the game's good as well. You should play it. It's good.